news. Last night, the Dolphins dropped to 2-7 on the year after losing 28-6 at home to the Ravens. And earlier today, they mutually agreed to part ways with their general manager, Chris Grier, who has been with the organization since 2000. He served as their GM since 2016. Dolphins senior personnel executive Champ Kelly is going to be the interim GM. It's a critical part of the year with the trade deadline coming up this Tuesday. As for what it means for Miami head coach Mike McDaniel, our Adam Schefter reporting that McDaniel will remain Miami's head coach for at least the remainder of the regular season, per sources. As we wish you all a happy Halloween, and our friend RC dressed as the great Willy Wonka. I love it. And he once said, the suspense is terrible. I hope it lasts. That's a Willy Wonka phrase.
Yes, ma'am.
Suspense is over in Miami. What do you think about the moves they made today?
They definitely aren't using pure imagination in Miami right now. You know, this is a struggling organization, an organization that's had players come into its spotlight and play well in Miami, and seen them cast off by Chris Grier. And they've acquired new faces around there that haven't actually panned out to be successful on the field. And now when you look at this team and its lackluster performances, the lackluster effort and execution, there had to be a change. The only reason I could see right now for keeping Mike McDaniel from Stephen Ross is to not put this entire organization in upheaval as you try to assess the players and the staff within this building. The thing for me is this. Can you continue to get them to play hard? Can you continue to get each an individual and independent contractor to put their best foot forward? Because sometimes the name on the back has to matter more than the logo on the helmet. Mike McDaniel, to me, is a great X and O coach. He's a great strategist, and schematically, he's one of the smartest coaches in football. Can he get these guys to continue to play throughout the rest of the season?
They really beat themselves last night, right? At times, they look like they have potential, but they just, man, they got in their own way last night. Mina and Dan are both with us on this Halloween Friday. So, Mina, let's start with you. What did you think when you heard the news?
Yeah, you never want to cheer or root for someone losing their job or parting ways, but this makes a ton of sense. It was a long time coming. Grier took a lot of big swings on the current roster. Obviously, they haven't worked out, the biggest being contract they gave to the quarterback. Get to that in a second. Draft class have been very mixed. Feels like they haven't been able to fix their offensive line for, honestly, you guys know NFL Live. How long have I been talking about it? 6 years plus? So it definitely makes sense that it was his time to go. It's going to be a tough situation for whoever, by the way, takes this job. Tua's contract is still very large. To move on from it after this year would be exceedingly difficult. After next year, the dead cap hit gets more manageable. So, you know, you'd be walking into a situation, not a ton of young talent on this roster. But we have seen similarly difficult situations, Denver being, of course, the most obvious, turn around really quickly with the right players and quarterbacks. So it makes sense. We'll see what happens with Mike McDaniel. I echo RC's points about him as a play caller.
Yeah, before I get to Chris Grier, I want to touch on kind of Mike and Tua to Mina and RC's point. So I think 2 years ago, right around this time, this team was the #1 seed in the AFC. They were playing at home on Monday Night Football against the Titans. They win that game, they would have locked up the division. Ever since then, it's gone downhill. They lost that football game. But I don't believe that Mike McDaniel has forgotten how to coach, and Tua was in the MVP running at that point. I don't think Tua has forgotten how to play football at a high level. I think the reason that Chris Grier kind of had what happened today happen, this roster just is devoid of talent. I called their Monday Night Football game about a month ago. They don't have a ton of talent on this football team that you sit there and go, wow. In the last 10 drafts for Chris Grier, he has not drafted a single first-team All-Pro offensive player. If you compare that to a lot of the other AFC rosters, it's just not good enough. I don't think that this team is going to win a ton of games, but I do think that Mike McDaniel is a completely competent head coach, and Tua is still very much so a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, next up for the Dolphins after the mini-bye, it doesn't get much easier. It's the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, the Ravens won that game. We're going to talk about them later, but we have more news to get to. A developing story in Jacksonville as the Jaguars placed two-way rookie Travis Hunter on the injured reserve list this morning after he suffered a knee injury in practice yesterday. This means he is going to miss a minimum of 4 games. We just absolutely hate to see this. Dan, what does it mean for the Jags?
Well, hopefully it's the short term. And hopefully it's just that 4-week stint. One, this is devastating for the Jaguars because they gave a lot up to get Travis Hunter. And I wouldn't say that he's had the impact both on either side of the ball that I think a lot of people anticipated and hoped for. So you're sitting there going, gave up a lot of draft capital for him. And right now he's been good at times and really good, but maybe not as impactful. I think the second thing was he's coming off his best game as a wide receiver.
Yep.
And you were sitting there after that Rams game going, all right, now you can come off of the bye and take off because this offense needs him. This is an offense that still desperately struggles to consistently catch the football. I would argue he's got the most consistent hands on the offensive unit. And Brian Thomas Jr. has been up and down this year. They need him opposite Brian Thomas Jr. to balance this pass game. And so hopefully it's the short period of time. But the reality is this is a devastating break for a Jaguars football team and a young player that just seemed, at least offensively, to start to take off.
This is a spot where you have to recalibrate. And I love that Dan mentioned what they gave up to draft him because you gave that up because you had a plan for him. You thought that he could impact the football game on both sides of the field. And it was starting to trend toward he was going to be more of a 1B receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. In that last game against the Rams, he had 14 targets, 8 catches, 101 yards, a big catch for 34 yards, and a touchdown. It seemed that he was moving into being an offensive specialist for them. And so now when he comes off of this injury, whenever it is, if he does play again this season, it's about having a plan that allows him to be impactful, that's not stuck to the plan you had when you drafted him. You're going to have to move forward with how does Travis Hunter not only best help this team, but how do we keep him healthy and allow him to progress as his athleticism will take him, because he's one of the more talented players in this league. He has to learn to be a specialist and master an art somewhere on this field.
Yeah, that's why this was so devastating, right? Because to both of your points, it felt like there was some improvement there as a wide receiver, expansion of the route tree as the year was going along. And I was watching him thinking, this is going to look so much better in December than it did in September, but now we won't get to see that. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, obviously you need the secondary pass catchers to step up. I would argue, though, equally important, they got to get back to running the football the way they did the first few weeks of the season. Something I thought Liam Cohen did an excellent job of at Tampa Bay was making adjustments in the run game to the personnel he had. This offensive line is not as good as the one he had in Tampa, but he has to find answers. One of those answers, and this is, I think, a little bit of potentially good news for Jacksonville, Brenton Strange, their tight end, will be back, I believe, eligible week 11. The more I think about it and the more I think about what I saw from him the first month of the season, he is really important in this offense, both as a pass catcher, but also equally important as a blocker. He was such a big part of what they were doing on the ground. So I think his return will help them be a more balanced offense, and I think they can build off of that going forward.
RC, to your recalibrate point, I wonder if this makes Jacksonville recalibrate their thoughts of his usage. He came into this season thinking he could play both ways. And I know he was nicked up a little bit in like week 2, week 3, and now this happens, and it might be an independent type of event. But I wonder if they sit back, him coming off of this injury, and say, you know what, maybe we gave him too much too soon, and he is just a offensive or a defensive player, and he's not both.
Yeah, and I think that is with an understanding that you have to accept you may have been wrong, right? The lure of Travis Hunter was that he could play both ways, that we watched him play 100-plus snaps throughout his college career in every game. But this is the NFL. It's different. It's difficult to learn. And physically, that will take its toll on you. We don't know how this injury happened, but this does tell us that you have to manage how much you give this young man and how much you ask from him, because he's only human.
And he really wanted to play both ways.
That's the other part.
He made that clear. It's going to be a very difficult discussion if it does come to that coming up. All right, we are just getting started here on NFL Live with Lamar Jackson back in the lineup. How about those Ravens reminding everybody just how explosive they can be as Baltimore back to scaring.
Do you not know what your Halloween costume's going to be?
It's Halloween, huh? Got a big discussion with this with my assistant Daryl. I was like, I don't give a if it's Halloween, all right? We're trying to win a game, period.
Yeah, we're not going to let him bring us down, are we? Look at RC, resplendent as Willy Wonka all day. Well, you look fantastic.
You know what? Like I said earlier, it's the only chocolate factory we can still recognize.
And from that to this, which is what a transition. There we go, Bart Simpson. Dan the man, that's like an entire Bart Simpson head you have on?
Yeah, that thing it's tough to breathe in, and I feel like I was in a sauna. That is my son's costume from last year, and I braved it.
Hocus Pocus is crazy.
So this is me.
This is so good.
That's me in the middle.
Yeah,
that's Brooke Pryor.
So good.
And Courtney Cronin. And yeah, so we're the Sanderson sisters. That's coming up on
so
Vibe
good.
Check.
Could you talk with the teeth, Hannah?
I did a magic trick and I took the teeth out. I have perfect teeth at the start of it's coming up at 5 Eastern.
Yeah, that looks good.
Also, I gotta say, I caught Mina on SportsCenter. She gave us like a little sneak peek.
I thought she was going to start the show like that.
Because we're gonna save that for the end of the show.
Y'all just got me out here looking silly.
Ryan.
We got you guys. Oh, come on, we're a team here. Oh goodness. All right. You know who else is dressing up this weekend and in uniform? How about Jayden Daniels? He will be back on the field for the Commanders after missing last week with a hamstring injury as they host the Seahawks. And Dan Quinn is so happy to have a starting quarterback back.
Jayden will be back, and we're all pumped for that. He's just got a unique way about him, elevates the others as we're going through things. It's hard to defend, with two plays that could take place, gets outside, running and passing. And so we're really pumped to have him here.
So, we have DQ and Bobby Wagner facing their former team, but take us through this modern-day Hawks defense, right? And what you think they might have planned for Jayden Daniels and company.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup for anyone. We know how good the Seahawks defense is, how complete they are. They're great against the run, great four-man rush, great in coverage. You get Witherspoon backs. But I would argue they're also really challenging for Washington because they match up well with a number of things that the Commanders like to do, one of which is no huddle. We know that they run no huddle at pretty much the highest rate in football. Against no huddle this year, it's been 400 snaps. The Seahawks defense have been top 3 in success rate, in large part, guys, because they don't have to take players off the field. They've stayed in nickel 88% of the time, and they can defend the run so well out of that. So the Commanders are so good at making defenses play left-handed by playing fast. But that's not something you can do against Seattle because they're so good at defending the run with light bodies. So it's a tricky matchup for Washington, and I struggle to find matchup advantages, candidly, when I look at the Seattle defense.
Yeah, I think this is a game that Jayden's going to have to go for over 60 or 70 yards with his legs. And the reality is he's not nearly the runner that he was last year as far as production because he's missed games, but he's still having success running the football on a per-game basis. Against zone, Mina's talking about zone defense. If you look at the bottom of that graphic, Seattle's one of the top 10 zone defenses in the league when it comes to usage. Jayden does a really good job running against zone defenses. And I think the thing that stood out to my mind is when we called that Houston-Seattle game on Monday night, Houston had some success, CJ, when Seattle gets all their defensive line games and they get those stunts and twists and TEs, they can leave seams there. I think Jayden's got to have a little bit of the Josh Allen versus man coverage in him. Josh Allen sees man coverage. He sees the seam, back foot hits the ground and goes. I think Jayden's got to have that mindset this week of if you get a twist or a game and you see a seam, take off and make sure that your legs are a massive part of this football game.
Yeah, we'll see how well he can move. Obviously, injured a couple of times this season. Terry McLaurin's back out too. But on the other side, we have this fabulous Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, his connection with Sam Darnold has been incredible. How big a factor do you think he's going to be in this one?
Oh, first off, if you could play wide receiver a little bit, you're a big factor against the Washington Commanders. Like we've seen that week in and week out. And when you look at Jackson Smith and Jigba, we're not talking about just a good wide receiver. We're speaking top tier. He's playing to the level of the Jamar Chases and the Justin Jeffersons, and in most times better than those players this year because of his connection with Sam Darnold. What I love is the way that Jackson Smith and Jigba has been able to stretch the football field from the #1 position. When you look at the amount of explosive plays that he's created. This was a thing I wasn't expecting coming into the year. In every single game this year, he's had a reception of over 26 yards or more. And what was most impressive about his game against Houston was anybody could get it, whether it was Kamari Lassiter, whether it was Derek Stingley Jr., whether you put him in the slot and it was Jalen Petrie. You had all of these top-tier defenders, and one-on-one, they didn't stand a chance against the route running and timing of Jackson Smith-Njigba. And by the way, all those names I just mentioned, don't none of them play for the Washington Commanders.
Right,
you hear me?
exactly.
Not one.
He
Not
leads
one.
the NFL in receiving yards. Okay, folks, let's look at our.
Not scared.
That's instead of the gong.
I love the scream, and you know what? Normally the screamers scare me, but in this game, we right. No trip.
I love it. I love the fact the
okay.
Hawks have won 9 in a row on the road. They're 10-1 on the road under Mike McDonald. So impressive. Still to come, Broncos chase their 6th straight win on Sunday. Oh, but will the absence of Pat Surtain on this Halloween Friday? Chris Grier is out as Dolphins general manager. Head coach Mike McDaniel still in. Travis Hunter on injured reserve with a non-contact knee injury. The Jags still assessing whether he will play at all this season. Some good news. Bryce Young active for the Panthers, as are Michael Penix and Drake London for the Falcons. And Joe Flacco is questionable for the Bengals. And then there's this from Adam Schefter. The NFL has fined the Ravens $100,000 for violating the league's injury report policy by incorrectly listing quarterback Lamar Jackson's practice participation status last Friday, October 24th. Obviously, though, he did look great in his return last night, coming off that hamstring injury. Oh, yeah, that's what the Dolphins were saying. They were screaming. Lamar had been out for 3 weeks, and he led the Ravens to a 28-6 win to kick off Week 9, going 18-23, 204 yards, 4 touchdowns. Baltimore winning back-to-back games for the first time this season. Here's Lamar with SVP talking about his mindset after the game.
We feel good. You know, like you said, we got everybody coming back healthy. We just got to stay dialed in. You know, I know what's ahead of us. Knowing it's do or die right now. Starting the season off extremely slow. We've never been in this situation, not since I've been here. But you know, we just got to lock in and keep doing what we're doing.
The numbers are so crazy when he's in the lineup. It's just night and day for that offense. The Ravens score more than twice as many points per game when Jackson starts, even with that slow start this season. When anybody else has started for Baltimore this year, their pass touchdown rate went down to only 1%. RC, what you think of the 2-time MVP last night?
Well, the first thing is I hate that it wasn't Monday night because we didn't get to hear Miss Lisa. Right?
Yeah,
that's always the best part about any Lamar Jackson interview post-game. But I think the other thing is Lamar Jackson should sit out and be like, hey, y'all remember when I was on the bench what we look like? Because this team is night and day with him. And what I saw last night was his ability to not only manipulate the pocket, but throw from the pocket. I thought he was so clean on the play action passes in between the numbers and allowing his receivers to catch the football and then have space to run. I also thought that the efficiency of this offense, especially in the red zone, changed so much with Lamar Jackson. His feel in the pocket, the ability to step up and find receivers late in the down. I think it's uncanny, and it's also unmatched by anyone else in the NFL. Now, it is the Miami Dolphins, so you have to temper the expectations or what you saw from him last night, but he looked good, he looked clean, and he also seemed to get better as the game went on, and he got more comfortable.
Yeah, RC, you hit it. I mean, the play action was a huge part of their success last night. Miami sold out to stop the run a lot of the game against single high. Lamar was 10 for 12 for 143 yards, 3 touchdowns. The tight ends were a big part of that offensive game plan against Miami's base defense. But then beyond the structure of the offense, Lamar just did Lamar things. I mean, the play where he shook off Jalen Phillips, rolled to his right, found Isaiah Likely. How many humans on earth can do that? Or the throw down the right sideline to Zay Flowers, absolute dot from inside the pocket. Just reminded of his unbelievable downfield accuracy. The ceiling for this offense when Lamar is in the lineup is as good as any in the NFL. Last night was a reminder of that.
Yeah, I think the best thing about their offense coming off last night is they scored 28 on the road. I don't even think they played that great. I thought there were moments where they were really crisp, but they didn't run the ball well till late. And I agree the play action pass game got better as the game went on. So I think you're encouraged about their offensive performance. Me, I'm encouraged about the defense. In the last 3 games, they're giving up 13 a game. And so this is a defense right now that is starting to play at a certain style. Obviously, we've talked about Kyle Hamilton getting down near the football, but it's shocking to just watch how impactful him being down near the ball is. How much better they are in the red zone when he's down near the football because of the space that he closes is such a prominent part of their defense. I also thought this, Malachi Starks was really good in that kind of nickel spot when they can have Kyle down there with Malachi down there. I thought they ran to the football significantly better than they did at the start of the season. Yeoman made some plays. So Marlon, much better in coverage, much more consistent in coverage. So, yes, the deep offense I'm encouraged by or improved, but this defense feels like it's trending towards being one of the better units the back half of this season.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dan. I love your point about Kyle Hamilton because putting him closer to the football, he's affecting the plays. And even when he doesn't get hands on the football, get to the quarterback, or even get to the runner, the ball carrier, he's buying time for the rest of the defense. And then you feel them all attacking as one. So 100%. It's completely disrupted the timing of other offenses. I do think they should add to the defensive line, defensive tackle, pass rush. But I do agree with you, Dan. This was a very encouraging game, and it's a continued performance for this Ravens defense.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that coming up. Now the discussion is, can they have a run and actually win the division, which is pretty well.
Do you not know what your Halloween costume is going to be?
It's Halloween, huh? Got a big discussion with this with my assistant Daryl. I was like, I don't give a if it's Halloween, all right? We're trying to win a game, period.
Yeah, we're not going to let him bring us down, are we? Look at RC, resplendent as Willy Wonka all day. Well, you look fantastic.
You know what? Like I said earlier, it's the only chocolate factory we can still recognize.
And from that to this, which is what a transition. There we go, Bart Simpson. Dan the man, that's like an entire Bart Simpson head you have on?
Yeah, that thing it's tough to breathe in, and I feel like I was in a sauna. That is my son's costume from last year, and I breathed it.
Hocus Pocus is crazy.
So this is me.
This is so good.
That's me in the middle.
Yeah,
that's Brooke Pryor.
So good.
And Courtney Cronin. And yeah, so we're the Sanderson sisters. That's coming up on Vibe Check.
Did you talk with the teeth, Hannah?
I did a magic trick and I took the teeth out. I have perfect teeth at the start of it's coming up at 5 Eastern.
Yeah, that looks good.
That was cool.
I got to say, I caught Mina on SportsCenter. She gave us like a little sneak peek.
I thought she was going to start the show like that.
We're going to save that for the end of the show. We're all
got me out here looking silly.
You, Ryan. We got you guys. Oh, come on. We're a team here. Oh, goodness. All right. You know who else is dressing up this weekend and in uniform? How about Jayden Daniels? He will be back on the field for the Commanders after missing last week with a hamstring injury as they host the Seahawks. And Dan Quinn is so happy to have a starting quarterback back.
Jayden will be back, and we're all pumped for that. He's just got a unique way about him, elevates the others as we're going through things. It's hard to defend, with 2 plays that could take place, gets outside, running and passing. And so really pumped to have him here.
So, we have DQ and Bobby Wagner facing their former team, but take us through this modern-day Hawks defense, right? And what you think they might have planned for Jayden Daniels and company.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup for anyone. We know how good the Seahawks defense is, how complete they are. They're great against the run, great 4-man rush, great in coverage. You get Witherspoon backs. But I would argue they're also really challenging for Washington because they match up well with a number of things that the Commanders like to do, one of which is no huddle. We know that they run no huddle at pretty much the highest rate in football. Against no huddle this year, it's been 400 snaps. The Seahawks defense have been top 3 in success rate, in large part, guys, because they don't have to take players off the field. They've stayed in nickel 88% of the time, and they can defend the run so well out of that. So the Commanders are so good at making defenses play left-handed by playing fast. but that's not something you can do against Seattle because they're so good at defending the run with light bodies. So it's a tricky matchup for Washington, and I struggle to find matchup advantages, candidly, when I look at the Seattle defense.
Yeah, I think this is a game that Jayden's going to have to go for over 60 or 70 yards with his legs. And the reality is he's not nearly the runner that he was last year as far as production because he's missed games, but he's still having success running the football on a per-game basis. Against zone, Mina's talking about zone defense. If you look at the bottom of that graphic, Seattle's one of the top 10 zone defenses in the league when it comes to usage. Jayden does a really good job running against zone defenses. And I think the thing that stood out to my mind is when we called that Houston-Seattle game on Monday night, Houston had some success, CJ, when Seattle gets all their defensive line games and they get those stunts and twists and TEs, they can leave seams there. I think Jayden's got to have a little bit of the Josh Allen versus man coverage in him. Josh Allen sees man coverage. He sees the seam, back foot hits the ground and goes. I think Jayden's got to have that mindset this week of if you get a twist or a game and you see a seam, take off and make sure that your legs are a massive part of this football game.
Yeah, we'll see how well he can move. Obviously, injured a couple of times this season. Terry McLaurin's back out, too. But on the other side, we have this fabulous Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, his connection with Sam Darnold has been incredible. How big a factor do you think he's going to be in this one?
Oh, first off, if you could play wide receiver a little bit, you're a big factor against the Washington Commanders. Like we've seen that week in and week out. And when you look at Jackson Smith and Jigba, we're not talking about just a good wide receiver. We're speaking top tier. He's playing to the level of the Jamar Chases and the Justin Jeffersons, and in most times better than those players this year because of his connection with Sam Darnold. What I love is the way that Jackson Smith and Jigba has been able to stretch the football field from the #1 position. When you look at the amount of explosive plays that he's created, this was a thing I wasn't expecting coming into the year. In every single game this year, he's had a reception of over 26 yards or more. And what was most impressive about his game against Houston was anybody could get it, whether it was Kamari Lassiter, whether it was Derek Stingley Jr., whether you put him in the slot and it was Jalen Petrie. You had all of these top-tier defenders, and one-on-one, they didn't stand a chance against the route running and timing of Jackson Smith and Jigba. And by the way, all those names I just mentioned, don't none of them play for the Washington Commanders. You hear me?
Exactly.
Not one.
He
Not
leads the NFL in receiving yards. Okay, folks, let's look at her.
Not scared.
Scary.
That's instead of the gong.
I love the scream, and you know what? Normally the scream is scare me, but in this game, we right. No trip.
I love it. I love the fact the Hawks have won 9 in a row on the road. They're 10-1 on the road under Mike McDonald. So impressive. Still to come, Broncos chase their 6th straight win on Sunday. Oh, but will the absence of Pat Surtain? Oh, they're getting healthy. We'll see. How about the Broncos defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph? Unfortunately, he is without Pat Surtain, the reigning defensive player of the year. They're going to travel to Houston. They're taking on the Texans. It's only the 3rd game that Surtain has missed in his entire career. One note, linebacker Dre Greenlaw is returning for the Broncos after a suspension. Surtain's absence, what does that do? Well, it puts a dent in really what appears to be one of the best defensive matchups of the season. The Broncos, the Texans, 2 of the 5 best in the NFL. The Texans allowing the fewest points and yards per game. As for Denver, nobody has a better 3rd down defense. So with Surtain out, Dan, how does that change this matchup for C.J. Stroud? He's coming off a season high over 300 passing yards in Week 7 against the Niners.
Yeah, it opens up the whole field. You know, when I was in the league, Hannah, and RC knows this, like, we were going against corners like Richard Sherman and Al Harris and Darrelle Revis. And just from an offensive perspective, quarterback thought-wise, when those guys were out there, you didn't really look to their side. So you were often, one, trying to formulate things or formation things to get guys away from those players, but you really only could look to half the field, and that was challenging. Now, with no Surtain out there, Houston could look to the whole field. And if I was Houston, I would try to get Nico Collins as much as I can opposite Riley Moss. Riley Moss is still a good player. He's not Surtain. And so with Nico Collins back and available, and his ability to be one of the best big playmaking wide receivers in the NFL, it's incumbent upon Houston. Get him opposite Riley Moss. Allow him to work on that number 3 corner because that is such an advantage. Now they they have the whole field to work with sideline to sideline, and C.J. Stroud could really read what the defense tells him to do with the football rather than just focusing on one side of the ball like you often have to do when Surtain's out there.
I mean, you're sort of playing, if you're Denver, without a number one corner. Riley Moss is a very good player, but we've seen that he's been under siege and under attack opposite Patrick Surtain. And now you have Abrams Drain, who will be the corner starting because of Pat's absence. This is going to be about pressure to me. Even without Patrick Surtain in the back end, the Denver Broncos and Vance Joseph understand how to create pressure, and they can do it in a multitude of ways. They can do it with a four-man rush. They can do it with simulated pressures that still end up in four-man rushes, but the disguise attracts the offensive line to lean or slide certain ways, and then he brings people from the second level. That's what we've seen affect C.J. Stroud. It's not as much about the back end, because we know if his feet are clean, if he has an opportunity to have time, his accuracy level goes up, the confidence in which he plays with goes up, and you'll see those types of performances like we saw last week against the San Francisco 49ers. And no matter who is on the back end for Denver, if you don't affect him that way, you'll get high-level play from C.J. Stroud.
This is such an interesting matchup. So let's flip it, Mina, because we had Bo Nix, 4 passing touchdowns in that Week 8 win over the Cowboys, but we all know that Texan defense is much different than the one that's down I-45 there. So how should Denver try to attack Houston?
Run the damn ball. Houston's amazing. The four-man rush is terrifying. The coverage is stifling. The run defense is still good, but if I'm Denver, I do it for a couple reasons. One, sort of mitigates that pass rush to some degree. Two, I think Broncos, their rushing attack looks better and better every week to me with J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. The other thing I want to see is Bo Nix using his legs, as you see there. I wouldn't call this a weakness necessarily of the Texans defense, but we have seen quarterbacks who can run take advantage of it when they play man coverage, when they leave voids in the middle of the field, both as a scrambler and on designed runs. I would have Bo Nix be a part of that rushing attack, and I think that's their best chance against Houston.
All right, as we look at our picks for this one, thankfully no screaming because we're split.
I'll take a split. Is it me and you, Hannah?
Me. It's you and me,
well,
Houston.
You're a Houston girl. I knew that.
There we go.
Coming.
So
I mean, I live in Baton Rouge,
nice.
it's close.
Okay, there we go. That's some good logic for you, right, folks? All right, new on NFL Live from Adam Schefter. We're really happy to see this. Initial testing has revealed that the Jaguars wide receiver and cornerback Travis Hunter, that ACL is intact, according to a source. He's going through some additional testing to determine the extent of the injury, how long he's going to be sidelined. He did injure his knee during practice on Thursday, placed on IR today. Sounded a little scary, but this is good news, right, RC?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good to hear that his ACL is intact, but that lets you know how severe they initially thought that this injury was to immediately put him on the injury reserve. It's still scary for someone whose game is built on speed. It's built on agility. You wonder what sort of player he can be again in this season as he rehabilitates that knee. And for me, it's sad because it felt like Travis Hunter was starting to gain his footing, at least offensively, for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this team needs him so badly.
Yeah, coming off his best game of the season. It's like him and Cam Scattaboo, you know, these tough,
and you don't want to see these young players have these sort of setbacks.
I know, right away in their first season. It's time for AI-generated fantasy insights provided by IBM. This weekend, Jahmyr Gibbs is number 3 on the boom list, facing the Vikings. His high projection of 21.2 fantasy points is 4th among backs this week. So we're going to start with that game for our play sheet presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Dano, J.J. McCarthy back over under 219.5 passing yards against the Lions.
Yeah, I'm going under, and I know Detroit is not as healthy as possible on the back end, but I just don't have a ton of faith right now in this offensive line in Minnesota, and I think because the way Detroit schematically plays defense, they'll go after JJ, they'll play their man coverage, and I think he's going to hopefully have some good moments, but I don't think he lights the secondary up.
Yeah, I was 215.5, by the way, passing yards. RC Falcons, Bijan Robinson, does he rush for 60 or more yards against the Pats?
Listen, the Pats are averaging about 76 yards per game, so defensively they do a great job. But Bijan Robinson has to rebound after the performance we saw from him against the Miami Dolphins. He fumbled the football deep down in the red zone. This guy is an absolute stud, and I expect him to be the focus and priority of this Falcons defense. He gets over 63.
Okay, Mina, give us an anytime touchdown. Bears, Bengals.
I'm going to go with the Bears' backup running back. Now their starter, Kyle Monangai. DeAndre Swift is out. This Bears rushing attack has been improved this season behind the strength of that offensive line, blocking better. And they're going up against the Cincinnati Bengals defense, which has struggled to stop the run all year long. So I like that matchup generally from Monangai.
Yeah, Mina coming through for us. Our $10 bet on the play sheet wins you nearly $50. And coming up, the Colts offense has... And one of our favorite people on Countdown is researcher, producer Evan Kaplan here with us today for a segment we call That's Cap, where he digs deep into the numbers. And there is the man of the hour. We're going to look at the top of the AFC North, Cap.
Hannah, this division has been flipped on its head over the last few weeks. Entering week 7, look at these numbers. The Steelers had a 79% chance to win the AFC North according to our analytics. The Ravens were at 16%. Steelers were 4-1. The Ravens were 1-5. Now, just 2 weeks later, the Ravens are 3-5, but they've got Lamar Jackson back, and Baltimore has a 50% chance to win the AFC North ahead of the Steelers, who still have a winning record and are in first place at 4-3. Part of that is because Lamar is back. The other part is each team's remaining schedule. The Ravens have the 5th easiest remaining schedule in the AFC. Steelers have the 3rd hardest. And let's dig into this a little bit more, and we're going to use our playoff predictor touchscreen. Starting with this game on Sunday against the Colts, Steelers have a 42% chance to win that game according to ESPN analytics. Look at these numbers here. Pittsburgh is only favored in 3 of their remaining 10 games. This game against the Bengals, they play the Dolphins here, and then week 17 against the Browns. Look at these 2 games against the Ravens. 37% chance to win in Baltimore, only 46 when they played the Ravens at home in week 18. So let's put this in action here. Focus on these 2 numbers at the top. If the Steelers beat the Colts on Sunday, despite everything I just talked about, things still looking good for Pittsburgh, right? Up to 64% to make the playoffs, 51% to win the division. If they lose, though, now they're 4-4. They're down to 42% to make the playoffs, only 35% to win the division. So these numbers say the Steelers need a win on Sunday against a 7-1 Colts team to maintain control of the AFC North. RC, we going cap or no cap on that?
Hey, no cap. And that's what makes me nervous, because you also look at the Ravens schedule, and they have very winnable games through the next 5 weeks. And with Lamar Jackson back, with the acquisition of Alohi Gilman, and the way that they now deploy Kyle Hamilton on the defensive side of the football, the Ravens are looking more Ravens than they did early on this season. But Brooks there every single week. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense is no longer that vaunted unit that it used to be in the past. When you look at the second half of the Green Bay Packer game, 20 straight completions for Jordan Love. Emmanuel Wilson able to run out the clock with physicality. That just can't happen, and it normally doesn't happen in Pittsburgh. And if they don't change some things, and I mean change things immediately, they're in trouble. But with the Indianapolis Colts coming into town, offensively, they do all the things that give the Steelers trouble.
Well, you can just imagine. Jonathan Taylor could potentially have a field day. It's such an efficient offense. Brooke Pryor here with the Steelers every single day. How are they prepping for this one?
Well, I think about what Mike Tomlin said at the beginning of the week, and you mentioned they need to make some changes. Well, he said, we're going to keep doing what we're doing, but do it better, which that kind of feels like an understatement, right? I mean, a lot of their focus this week has been on how to slow down Tyler Warren and Jonathan Taylor. And that job to slow down tight end Tyler Warren just got a lot more difficult because they put Deshaun Elliott on IR. We knew that was going to happen. Jabril Peppers is also out for this game. He had a quad injury 2 days ago, did not practice on Friday. That's a huge miss because he was going to be the physical type of guy that Deshaun Elliott is, and that's key in both the run game and in guarding Tyler Warren. They did just trade for Kyle Duggar, but kind of remains to be seen how much he can be caught up to this. So it's going to be a tough.
If you were Tyler Warren watching Tucker Kraft last week, you are licking your chops.
Let's go. All right, let's look at our picks. We can't get a pick from Brooke, obviously. Everybody else is on the Colts, Brooke, and we have high-scoring, close games. all of us, except for Dan, who picks 2017 every game. And there's a gong, but this week it's a scream. Should we be screaming, or are we on the mark, you think?
I think you're on the mark with it being a high-scoring game, because that's the only way the Steelers are going to be in this one.
Yeah.
Is the Colts defense is just as suspect. So maybe Aaron Rodgers will turn back the clock again.
Hey, you got to figure they might have to put 30 points on the board to have a chance in this one. Still ahead in a galaxy not so far away. Two Titans, their epic showdown. Mahomes versus Allen. Here why Mina says one of Allen's pass catchers could tip the balance of power. She'll explain how. Coming up on NFL Live, in case you couldn't guess. RC, who are you?
I'm homeless Han Solo. I'm Han Solo if he didn't have a spaceship.
I don't think
I'm
Han Solo wore those sneakers in space. I'm just saying.
Look at me, y'all. Look at me.
He was so much happier than Willy Wonka.
Lydell bought this outfit for me. I'm done with him. Like, legit, I don't care. There's nothing Lydell could ever do that I'm going to be cool with. I don't care whatever he asked me from here on out. If Lydell, like, RC, can you dress as? Hell no. They got me out here like homeless Han Solo. I'm done with this. Harrison Ford would never. My pants finna fall down. Hannah, you look at Hannah looking all angelic and princess-like.
What about Mina?
Look at Mina looking all amazing.
Mina, who are you?
Dan, a damn stormtrooper.
Mina?
I'm Rey. Last
Yes,
Jedi,
of
I think,
course.
is one of the most underrated Star Wars movies. That's my #1 Star Wars take.
I love that movie. And Dan, yes, I think it's self-explanatory, but who are you?
Kylo Ren. I'm a villain.
Wait. Dan, I think when Dan was putting on his costume, somebody walked into the room. I think there was an intruder that came into the room, right? When you're looking. Hey, Letty!
She's the best.
Your
That
daughter.
child, man.
Okay, that
got better
is
takes than
so
Dan.
funny. Oh my gosh. I love her.
heard that.
Yeah, better takes than Dan. There you go, Mina. Okay, so let's check out a couple of Star Wars that will be taking place this Sunday, starting with the Niners and the Giants. Mac Jones, again for San Francisco. Mina, who has the edge when it comes to Trent Williams and Brian Burns?
You know, I got this as a sort of a draw, and I think Burns will get his, but I actually think San Francisco comes out on top because Burns will be deprived of opportunities to rush the passer because the Niners are going to run the ball so much on New York, one of the worst run defenses, in the entire NFL, and the Niners rushing attack seems to have rediscovered itself as of late.
Broncos and Texans, RC. Who wins the battle between Cortland Sutton and Derek Stingley? Are you?
Well, I think that Derek Stingley's going to win the battle, unlike I'm winning the battle with this costume right now. Listen, you look at Derek Stingley and the way he's able to play the football down the field. That's where they like to deploy Cortland Sutton. He's going to play the football at the point of attack. He's a guy that loves tight coverage. But we also know that Cortland Sutton has been used so much in those 50-50 combative catches, but I expect Derek Stingley to come down with an interception.
Your audio equipment really looks good, too. I just want to say.
I put it on myself, Hannah.
To the Lions and the Vikings. Dan, who wins a matchup of Jared Goff and the Minnesota defense? I can't.
Hey, RC dressed like Brian Flores right there. You got the same buff as Brian Flores does. I'm gonna say Jared Goff. Minnesota's defense has realistically been disappointing this year, like RC's costume right now. I think this past game for Detroit is about as hot as anyone.
I have no idea what you just said. Check out Star Wars Halloween costumes for everyone in the family, and I do mean everyone.
Don't get him Han Solo.
We
At least don't
are
let Lydell buy it.
family. Out of the galaxy options from our friends at
Like a
Jazzwares
security guard.
and Disney Consumer Products. Yes, you do.
Bro, how does Hannah get this outfit? You want to know why my microphone's not on? Because when she walked in looking all angelic, the audio guy ran to him. He was like, I'm not finna mic this hobo. Mina's got fireworks coming out of her thing.
There are a few things in the galaxy more exciting than watching Patrick Mahomes and Allen square off. The tail of the tape says it all. Josh Allen with a few more touchdowns, nearly half as many turnovers. Mahomes has the 5 wins, including all 4 playoff matchups, 3 of which ended in a Chiefs fourth quarter comeback. Dan, what do you think will be the biggest role in determining the outcome of this? Oh, it's off. Oh, that's sad. Oh, well, there you are. Okay, he's back. Can you hear me? I can hear you now, I think.
Yeah, this was just a mask, Anna.
Okay, no,
it's just a mask.
I got you.
Yeah, it's just a mask.
All right, what's the key to this game?
What defensive line plays better? And neither defensive line for both of these teams has been good. And Ed Oliver's not going to be there for Buffalo. So it's like Epinesa, Joey Bosa, this is why you were brought there. Michael Hoyt off your time away. One of these pass rushers is going to have to play a big moment, or in a big moment play well. Chris Jones, Karlaftis, they haven't been their dominant self. What defensive line gets the quarterback on the ground on that pivotal fourth quarter play?
Mina?
Yeah,
okay?
I think for Buffalo, there's a number of ways you can attack this Chiefs. Chiefs defense is good, but Dan's right about the pass rush. One thing I would do if I'm Buffalo, and we've seen in the last couple of weeks, they've really bumped up their use of the fullback, Reggie Gilliam. I would go 21, 22 personnel. Kansas City counters that with their base defense, and then I'm play actioning them. Get those linebackers. Those linebackers are great going side to side laterally, not great going backwards, and I think they can do that. The play action pass attack can be really effective for Buffalo in this game.
Tell you who won't win an Emmy this year. NFL Live costume department. Bet you that. Because you know what? I don't even know what the hell I'm supposed to talk about because I look so bad.
You're supposed to talk.
What am I supposed to talk about?
I mean, you looked great as Willy Wonka.
What am I supposed to talk about?
You could be so many different things, though.
I know. There's a lot going on with like the sneakers and the whole
It's a bad deal. Honestly, though, the thing I want to speak on, though, is like how good Patrick Mahomes actually is playing right now. And I think he's going to come out and try to make a statement this week, especially against the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. Listen, this defense doesn't get pressure from the line of scrimmage. They aren't great on the back end. And Patrick Mahomes has been on a mission since week one. We talk about all of these intangibles and the dog and all of the effort that Baker Mayfield puts into playing the quarterback position. We've seen all of those things from Patrick Mahomes this year, exceedingly more than we have in any other place in his career. And I think with all of his weapons available against a struggling Buffalo Bills defense, we're going to see the best of Patrick Mahomes in this prime time or this 4 o'clock matchup.
Okay, we are.
See, Hannah couldn't even take me seriously.
I can't. I really can't listen to you.
All that good analysis, and you can't even take me seriously.
I just keep looking at you. We are all on the Chiefs. Dan's got the mask back on. Yeah, there you go.
The Bills are going to use that for sure.
Hey, RC, I've just got one thing to say with you as you go about your day. May the force be with you.
I need the force of a different outfit.